Here's a lesser known dividend stock from the UK that might tickle your fancy. 3i Group. The ticker symbol on the London Stock Exchange is III. It has a rock bottom level of debt and a sky high level of profits at the moment. And to top it off, their dividend payout ratio is the lowest I've ever seen. It currently costs £23.57 per share. It pays two dividends per year. The last two were for 29.75 pence and 26.5 pence per share. I started my position on the 23rd of July of 2021 and I'm currently 40% up. The next ex-dividend date is the 20th of June of next year and that will be paid on the 26th of July. 3i Group is up 15% in the last month. It's up 17% in the last 6 months. It's up 75% in the last year and up 200% in the last 5 years. Now a quick overview on 3i Group, and there's 5 potential points it can earn in this section. So 3i Group was founded in 1945. That makes it 78 years old this year and earns it 1 point out of 1. It is relatively small but not tiny. It has about 250 employees. That earns it 0.1 points out of 1. It's based in London in the UK. It operates in the financial sector in the miscellaneous financial services industry. So quite simply, it's an investment company and it's divided into private equity and infrastructure. Specializes in core investment markets in Northern Europe and North America. The infrastructure section invests in things like utilities, transport, communications, natural resources, and other economic infrastructure businesses. And this is a quick look at their portfolio on their website. It looks like they have their fingers in quite a few pies. You can see different locations around Europe, North America, the UK, and there's a total of 4 pages of all the things that they're invested in. Seems to be quite varied as well, the types of businesses. It's good, it's always comforting to see, rather than them keeping all of their eggs in one basket. So out of a potential 1 point for their product moat or services moat, and also their reach, going to give them a strong 0.85. 3i Group has a current market cap of £22.82 billion. That makes them a large cap company and earns them 1 point out of 1. Now this is also on their website, Corporate and Portfolio News. And this section will be a little bit tricky with the news part because they're in so many different industries and different businesses that it'd be hard to get a grasp of all of them. But the only negative I could really see at the moment was that there's a current crypto fraud that's using their name and logo, which in all fairness is not their fault. And what I'm seeing with a lot of analyst sentiments is buy, buy, buy. We've got a strong buy on tip ranks. We've got a moderate buy on Market Screener. With a straight Google search, it's another strong buy. On Market Beat, it's another moderate buy. And on Yahoo Finance, it's another buy. There's no sell ratings and no underperforming ratings. It's all either hold, buy, or strong buy. So as far as I can see, that's full marks. 1 point out of 1 for the current sentiment. And if there is any news that you know about 3i Group that I'm not aware of, feel free to let me know. But now we can move on to the valuation. So we're off to a good start. 3.95 points out of 5 for the overview. And there is a potential 4 points they can earn in this valuation section. So first of all, their current revenue is about £4.8 billion and their annual profit margin is a whopping 95%. That's how much of their income they actually get to keep after paying expenses. Most of it. And in the last quarter of this year, it's the same, about 95%. Very strong profits. That earns them 1 point out of 1. And look at that beautiful debt to assets ratio. Over the last year, they had £17.8 billion in total assets and £975 million in total liabilities. Very, very strong. And in the last quarter of this year, it's the same, 5.5%. That also earns them 1 point out of 1. So 3i Group earns £4.70 for every share that exists, and it has a current price to earnings ratio of 4.95. And the average price to earnings ratio for the financial sector in the UK seems to be 7.7. So that means that 3i Group, despite the massive run-up, is trading below the average price to earnings ratio for its sector and is therefore at a good price even still. So out of a potential 1 point for earnings, 3i Group earns 1 full point. So there's not a huge amount of information given on cash flow in the summary, but by the looks of it, they earned 727 million from operating and then they spent 773 million financing their activities. So their net change in cash for this year was negative £50 million, but for a large cap company like this, that's pocket change. Despite the fact that £50 million to them is very little, I'm going to give them 0.85 out of 1 potential point. So far so good. 3.85 points out of a potential 4. Now, this section is where it may actually be let down a little bit, but please keep in mind that my focus is for the dividend, so this may not affect your own investing goals. You may have no interest in dividends whatsoever, but there is a potential 6.5 points for 3i Group to earn in this section. So 3i Group pays its dividend twice per year, so it earns 0.5 out of a potential 1 point, and it does not earn the 0.2 bonus points for paying special dividends in the last 5 years. Their current dividend yield is 2.3%, which may not look great, but you have to remember when the stock price goes up, as it has with 3i Group, the dividend yield goes down. So that earns it 0.5 out of a potential 1 point. Their dividend payout ratio, which is how much of their profits they pay out as a dividend, is 6.4%. That's the lowest I've ever seen. The lower the better. That earns 1 point out of 1. They've been paying dividends for the last 30 years, which earns them 0.8 points out of a potential 1. Their average annual dividend growth rate over the last 3 years is 10%, over the last 5 years is 12%, over the last 10 years is 24%, and over the last 20 years is also 24%. So for their dividend growth rate, they earn 1 point out of 1. However, as we can see here, in 2019 they paid 37.5 pence in the year, and in 2020 they paid 35 pence, which means that they only have 2 years of consecutive dividend raises, so they don't earn any points for that. So from top to bottom, 3i Group earns 11.6 points out of a potential 15.5, and the sections it was let down on are consecutive dividend raises, the amount of employees it has, and that it doesn't pay bonus dividends. So this is purely my own rating system, and I do think you should consider investing in this stock. I'm very impressed with it altogether. Now obviously things can change, but at the moment it is looking very strong.